Alright, so to figure out all the lore, first we have to figure out all the characters, and to figure out all the characters, we have to identify all the skins. Here are all of them. There's only one Canadian, so that's pretty easy, and the lore is pretty explicit that there's real Weefies or evil Fees, and that there's the main clone Fees. As for the rest of the skins, I believe they're all Watto, and we have to make a clear distinction between big head Weefies and normal sized head Weefies, which could either be clone Fees or evil Fees. I've also listed them in what I believe to be the rough chronological order of the lore. And here are all the videos I'll be talking about in chronological order of publishing date. So starting with the main plotline, which is what most people watched. Basically, Evil Fees is making a bunch of clone Fees in order to make them run escape rooms for content. And Canadian is doing like this debunk thing, gets the IP address from WADA specifically, which is important later, and then dies and then respawns. And then that is the respawn message is how she gets discovered by Evil Fees. So then when Canadian gets put in the escape room and escapes with clone Fees and then goes and confronts Evil Fees and then Evil Fees dies, we know that Evil Fees is not actually dead, even though that is how it is framed. And that's about it for the main plot line. Next is the third video of the trilogy, which was published concurrently to the main two videos. And the gist of the whole thing is that Canadian and clone Fees are interrogating Watto after the fact, demonstrated by the fact that they have all this backup footage. And what they find out is that Watto was the one who built most of the escape room and the factory, but she doesn't remember any of it. She has dementia. Demented. Okay, so to actually look at the backup footage itself. Okay, so this clip right here is Watto in a Weefy's outfit and with a Weefy's head. And I think the easy assumption to make is that Watto is Evil Fees because it was Watto who in reality played Evil Fees. However, consider why would Watto be in the escape room in the first place? And then here Watto beats the escape room, which is not important because they're wearing the Om's mask, which I believe the implication of is supposed to be that he was possessed by the mask, which is why they become Evil Fees, and then does the whole Evil Fees thing, and then forgot everything after they died, which is the feature of the Om's mask, right? You get possessed, you go evil, and then you die, and then you lose the curse, and then you forget everything. The issue is there is no hopper-fueled destruction and rage. And while yes, the escape room in the debunk video did feature an oddly large number of hoppers, that is still a far cry from what kind of superpower, destruction, whatever it is that the Om's mask is intended to induce, in the older lore videos at least, from Canadian. So with that in mind, we can see in this next clip, Watto goes to the factory after Ken and Weefy's, as we can see by the fact that there is the redstone torch that Ken placed, I believe, because he said conserve resources. And all of this is important because this next clip shows that Weefy's or Evil Fees is inside the factory before Ken and Clone Fees even get there, which goes to show that Watto and Evil Fees are not actually the same person. In addition to the fact that the Evil Fees here doesn't have a larger head, as you would expect Watto with an Om's mask to have. And we can further corroborate this with more backup footage as we see Watto walk into the factory and put on a Weefy's head since she used hers to get out of the escape room. So we know that Watto in a Weefy's disguise has a larger head than Evil Fees does, so they cannot be the same person. And then Watto literally walks out in the next clip instead of confronting Canadian or Clone Fees, which is what you would expect Evil Fees to have to do. And to cover my basis, and because it's shown in the True Creator video, the Evil Fees in the trivia battle has a normal sized head, so that cannot be Watto either. And then finally a clip that's not about Watto being or not being Evil Fees. In this case, it's literally just Watto in Om's mask building something we don't know. And then when all the flashbacks are finally over, Watto walks out of the building that he's being interrogated in, and my interpretation is that she then goes and looks around at all the evidence that has been laid out after the entire situation, and that is what the remaining clips are. Alright, now we move on to the prequel. Right, so first thing to know is that in the intro, Watto's head is a normal size, which may change later. And then basically it's shown that Watto is building this escape room for an anonymous person who is obviously Evil Fees, which is another reason to believe that Evil Fees and Watto are not the same person. Which is also how Watto has the IP address to give to Canadian, because for some reason Evil Fees wants it built on the server rather than built elsewhere and then imported on. And that this is pretty obvious, but Watto then shows that they built the escape room and the factory set for the video. And here's the important part, because Watto says that you shouldn't use non-vanilla mechanics when it's not explained, and then falls into this hole into the escape room from the debunk video that she says she hasn't even built yet. But we also know that after she solves the escape room, she comes out of it after Ken and Weefy's. So, how does this work? My proposal is that after Evil Fees respawns after the trivia battle, they figured that it was Watto who leaked the IP address because that would make logical sense. And then I believe Evil Fees decided to use non-vanilla mechanics to time travel Watto from the video recording into the escape room into the future after the Ken and Weefy solved, because in theory it would be impossible to solve because there's already been like double solved, right? And then the ploy or the point of this is to get revenge on Watto for sharing the IP address. And I think it's reasonable to assume that time travel is a thing they might use because they're all nerds. And if you pay attention to the arm of the Minecraft character, you'll notice that Watto, when she is teleported into the escape room, she is already in the Weefy skin, which, in my opinion, means that Evil Fees intentionally put Watto in the Weefy skin and Om's mask because Canadian would know about the Om's mask and believe that, oh, Watto was Evil Fees because of the Om's mask. And this way, even after Evil Fees respawns, Clone Fees wouldn't continue to search for Evil Fees because, in theory, Evil Fees would be gone because once the mask is removed upon death, then Watto is no longer evil. And then probably after Watto escapes, Evil Fees builds a stupid room to cover up his tracks. And all the cheese in the room that makes it a triple solve comes from the fact that Evil Fees made changes to the room, which is also why Watto says she doesn't remember building all of it. The rest of the how to build an escape room video is then narrated by Big Head Watto, which leads me to believe that the rest of this recording takes place after Watto leaves the factory and before the Om's mask is removed, because otherwise there wouldn't be a necessity to have the big Watto head on. Which then poses the question, how does Watto forget everything if the Om's mask isn't real? In the very last video of the series, which is also unlisted but is linked under the main Canadian video, there is this very expansive escape room that is very clearly against Watto's design theory based on the how to build an escape room video from earlier. Yet it is revealed that Watto, without an Om's mask, but still in a Weefy's fit, is standing there. My resolution is that after Watto escaped and went to the factory and then went to record his video, Evil Fees then found them. Therefore, I think Evil Fees and Watto made a deal where if Evil Fees removed the mask on Watto, then Watto would build an expansive training ground for the clones for Evil Fees to make more clone fees, to make more escape room videos, to make more money. Everything is about capitalism. And then whether known to Watto or unknown to Watto, part of that deal was that Watto's memories would be wiped for the most part. And then so after Watto built the escape room thing-ish, and then got the mask removed as promised, but also memories wiped, Canadian then found Watto as seen in this video. And then that's where Canadian then brings over clone fees, and then they have the interrogation bring us back to the true creator video.
Oh, won't you stay for the ride? 'Cause all the views will be nice. Lend the stories that we'll tell our friends. We'll make him laugh until the party ends. Oh, won't you stay for the ride? It's do or die. Let's turn this 10 into 11 and make her jump to 7 heaven.
So after the interrogation, Wada regains a bunch of her memories and then shares this with Clone Fees and Ken, who then, together, because they're the world's smartest Minecraft players, they figure out all the information and figure out that Evil Fees is still alive. And then I think the three-person escape room is told from the perspective of a new clone, while the original Clone Fees is infiltrating, which is why he appears in the video in that awkward scene, and Ken and Wada are directly infiltrating, likely because maybe they made a deal with Evil Fees, I don't know.